Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel, and if you're new here, welcome. My name is Evelyn. So today's video is going to be a little different. I wanted to share some tips and ideas on how you can make your space feel more designer. Now, I am not an interior designer by any means, but I did want to share what I have been seeing on the designer Instagram pages, on their websites, and I figured that I can share all those tips with you guys in case you are wanting to make your space feel a little bit more elevated and designer. So I have 10 ways on how you can make that happen, so let's get started. Okay, so the very first one are wall treatments, and wall treatments are such an easy and sometimes affordable way to make your space feel a little bit more custom, and it varies from wallpaper, from molding, so you can do picture frame molding, you can do wainscoting, you can do board and batten, you can do shiplap, beadboard. There are so many ways to elevate a wall space. There's also plaster and lime wash, and I've seen lime wash in a lot of designer spaces and I love how that looks. Now, I've actually done two of them. I've done board and batten in my daughter's nursery, and I also did picture frame molding in my entryway, and it just makes the space feel a little bit more custom and it kind of sets the tone for the room. So that is such an easy way to elevate your space and make it feel a little bit more designer. Now, this next one is kind of similar to the first one, but it is paint. This is something we see in a lot of designer spaces, and currently we are seeing them paint baseboards, trim, ceilings, and all of the walls in a room, and it just makes it feel a little bit more moody, which I love. I am a little bit scared to do that in my own space for some reason. I don't know, I'm like scared to paint all the walls, but I've seen it a lot in Amber Interiors, Studio McGee, all of those designer Instagram pages, and it looks so beautiful. And we've also seen a little bit more bold colors, and it's so easy to just go to Home Depot or Lowe's, buy a gallon of paint, and then paint your walls, and trust me, it will instantly make it feel a little bit more custom once again and a little bit more designer. This next one is what I feel instantly gives you that designer feel, and it is vintage pieces. Vintage pieces are such a great way to add character to a space. They just have a story behind where they came from. It's nice to see a difference between old pieces and new pieces, and I feel like that's what makes it all come together and look so beautiful. We've seen this a lot with vases, with home decor items like candlestick holders. We also see it a lot with furniture pieces. I recently got a vintage piece, and I think it just adds a lot of character and charm to a space. Now, don't go out and just start buying a lot of vintage pieces, because then your space can kind of start to feel like a museum. You kind of want to mix old and new and make it all look very cohesive. I remember watching Fixer Upper years ago, and I remember seeing Jill always wanting to integrate some character to a space, so she would always keep some old pieces from the homes, and I always wondered, like, why do they want to keep like old pieces? And now I know why. Like, it just adds so much character and charm, and they just have a story, and it makes a space feel a little bit more homey and lived in. And you don't have to go out and buy these expensive vases or furniture pieces. You can just go to the thrift store and buy something that was used and has character and is a little bit more affordable. You can also DIY it. I did a DIY on a vase that I got from Home Goods, and I made it look a little bit more vintage and old. So if you do want to see that, I will have that link down below. I also did it with a lamp that I have. So there are so many ways to integrate vintage looking pieces into your home. So another way to make your space feel a little bit more designer is textures. Textures are so important when you are designing a space, and what textures do, in my opinion, is it kind of makes your eye go from one thing to another, and it's not bored when looking at a space. And what I mean by that is, if you have a space that is, for example, all linen, your eye is going to get a little bored. You know, like, it's the same thing. There's nowhere for your eye to go and see. And when you have different textures, I feel like it adds so much visual interest. So it just makes your eye just move around and makes everything look very cohesive and pretty. So make sure you have different textures, and I don't mean just fabric. I mean like metals, wood, stone. You can have linen, rattan, wicker, knit. There are so many different textures that you can integrate into your home and make the eye just go from one thing to another and keep it very interested. So adding textures makes the space feel a little bit more welcoming, inviting, and a lot more interesting. Next up, we have our curtains, and curtains are such a great way to elevate your room and also make it feel a little bit more homey. In almost every room that I see on designer Instagram pages, I see curtains. Now, a very good tip when hanging your curtains is making sure that you place them very high. So kind of right where the ceiling starts, you want to place your rod and make sure that they are floor length, because that will just make it feel a little bit more designer, more custom, and that is what you're trying to go for. And I've also noticed that a lot of designers do the pinch pleated look, or they also use those little curtain rings that you can purchase off of Amazon. So that is another way that you can kind of make your space feel like a designer came to your home and designed your space. So the sixth way to make your space feel a little bit more designer is bringing the outdoors in. And what I mean by that is bringing in those pieces that you could only find in nature. So for example, wood, stone, marble, trees, all of that is going to make your home feel a little bit more welcoming and homey and cohesive. So we see this a lot in designer spaces. We see wood, and especially that reclaimed wood that has a lot of texture and distressing, that is so pretty. We also see a lot of stone, we see travertine, we see a lot of marble, and another thing that we also see are those really pretty trees, and a lot of them are real, but you can get that with a fake look. I have an olive tree in my living room, and I think it just adds so much life to my space. And I think all of these outdoor nature organic things bring that into a home. You don't have to get marble countertops, you can get marble dishes, you can get a marble tray, and that is a great way to add it into your space and not break the bank by just adding some marble countertops. You can also do that with wood. You can add wood cutting boards, a wood coffee table, or a wood riser. There are so many ways to integrate these things into your home and instantly get that elevated look. The next thing that I wanted to talk about is lighting, and I've started to notice that what makes a space feel more designer is making it look more custom. And lighting is a great way to do that. A lot of builder grade homes come with recessed lighting and no fixtures at all, no chandeliers, no light pendants. So it is up to you to add that to your space. And Amazon has so many affordable options. Adding a pendant light into your entryway can instantly elevate that look. I was going to do that for my entryway makeover, but I haven't found one that I love, so I'm still looking for that. You can also add wall sconces, you can add chandeliers above a dining table, or light pendants above your kitchen island, or some beautiful light fixtures in your bedroom. There are so many ways to add lighting into a home and just make it feel a little bit more warmer and cozy and custom. So if you want to make your space feel a little bit more unique and different from all the other homes in your neighborhood, then adding light fixtures is such an easy way to make it feel a little bit more custom and designer. Now this next one is one that I love incorporating in my home, and it is statement greenery. We see this a lot on designer Instagram pages. They use a lot of beautiful statement arrangements on coffee tables, on islands, entryways, and they instantly create such an impact and a wow factor when you walk into a room. And it's so easy to recreate with faux florals. I usually buy mine from Hobby Lobby, from Target, or from Amazon. So you can also use real stems. I did that for my dining table with real olive stems, and I love how that looks. So if you want a fun and easy way to make your space feel designer, go and get some beautiful stems and just create a beautiful statement arrangement, and trust me, it will instantly give you that designer look that you were going for. So another way to make your space feel a little bit more designer is layering. And by layering, I mean layering different textures and textiles into a space. I see this a lot with bedding. I don't know if you have noticed, but when designers style a bed, they use duvets, they use sheets, they use pillows, they use throw blankets, quilts, so many different textures and layers, and that gives so much visual interest to a space. It makes it look more cozy and inviting, and you don't have to just do that with bedding. You can do it on your couch with pillows and throw blankets, and you can also do it on your bookshelves. And what I mean by that is not just placing, for example, 2 books, something on top of the book, and then a vase. You kind of want to layer it together, so add books with something on top, and then a frame, and then candlesticks, and then a vase, and greenery. That is layering and giving so much visual interest. You see them layering books, beaded garlands, vases, art, candlestick holders, so many different pieces to make it all look very cohesive. So if you want that designer look, then I would highly suggest layering your pieces so that it all looks very cohesive cohesive and designer. Last but not least, the 10th way to make your space feel more designer is rugs. And rugs are such a great way to ground a space. In almost every designer room, we see a rug. We see it in living rooms, dining rooms, kitchen with kitchen runners, entryways. We see them in bathrooms. We see little rugs on there. There are rugs in every little space. So if you want to make your space feel designer, go get a rug. There are so many affordable ones on Amazon. There's also collabs that designers do with rug companies. I've seen a few drop these last couple of weeks. And a tip that I do want to give is if you are going to be buying a rug, let's say for your living room, is to make sure that it is big enough. Make sure that your couch fits on it nicely, your coffee table, or if you have accent chairs, or if you're going to be buying one for your dining room, make sure that there's enough room past the dining chairs and the table. Or if you're going to get a runner for your kitchen or your entryway, make sure that it is long enough. When you don't use a rug, it can kind of make the space feel a little bit more cold. I feel like rugs add so much warmth and coziness to a space. So that is the last way that you can make your space feel designer. All right, that concludes today's video. I really hope you guys enjoyed this type of video and got some ideas on how you can design your own space to make it feel a little bit more custom and designer. Now, I know I'm not an interior designer. These are all things that I have seen on their websites, on their Instagram pages, and I figured that I could share that with you guys in case you guys need some help on how to design your space. Let me know down below in the comments if you guys enjoy these type of videos. I love sharing my ideas with you guys, so I really hope you guys like this style of video. Anyways, thank you all so much for watching, and until next time, bye.